like they were playing to like a guide rather than a structure, if you know what I mean, like a loose template rather than a rigid template, because they seem to have the freedom in their creative players like Austin and Daryl Clark and Ratchford as well to do what they saw, but then everyone organised quite quickly for the next play. One notable was the offloading early in set, something that actually you normally seen from Leeds over the years, with maybe Tom Briscoe being adept at this, but Lynham in particular was very strong in this area. He wasn't the only one for Warrington. And they seemed, unlike Warrington teams of past, the bottlers that we've come to understand and appreciate, in the key moments they seem to rise up. Like the Hughes sin bin, they came back from that and scored a try, and didn't look like Leeds were ever going to bother them in that phase of the game. And the try, you could see it coming a mile off. Leeds just couldn't react to it. Some real good signs for them from what I saw. Aside from discipline, 2 sin bins and 2 bans from the game. Westwood with a 2-game ban, and Toby King with a 1-game ban for the dangerous lift that got him his sin bin in. And the kicking game, especially in the first half, wasn't great. Leeds looked a little low on match fitness. There were some players who maybe could have done with more game time in pre-season, I think. Watkins, Sutcliffe, Cuthberts and Merry, they're on my list for that. Hurrell, he showed that he's going to be a favourite for the fans and probably his teammates as well, but maybe not always the coach, because he worked so hard but made a few errors. Jack Walker looks good, maybe a little bit more robust than a year ago, but Lola here is a massive worry for Leeds.
Do you think?
There were times...
Yeah,
sorry?
Yeah, go on, sorry.
There were times where he seemed to take plays off Tim, and that's just not what you would expect from a key overseas signing. Just not what you would expect at all.
No, you'd be expecting as much as anything. He'd want to get something under his belt to show why he's worth it as much as anything.
No, exactly. Maybe like he played with his head down when the game felt like it was gone. But there was one point in the second half when I think it was 26-0, maybe 20-0 at the time, and it was Leeds had got tackled about 15 metres or so out on their left edge, and he just positioned himself on the short side where it was manned up on the short side, so there wasn't going to be an opportunity there, and the play was set up to the open side clearly, and he just put himself on the short side and didn't look interested in getting the ball, and that was a bad sign. I hope it's early doors and that'll turn around. Star players for me, Chris Hill obviously.
Was he? How was he on his grab factor that he brought in last year?
I didn't notice anything from him, but a few other Warrington players obviously did some rough stuff because they got the Simmons and the bands and that. Stefan Ratchford and Bryson Goodwin, though, they were the best 2 backs on the field for me. They were fantastic. Bryson Goodwin was a real threat, and Stefan Ratchford really played just flawlessly, I'd say. The halves worked well together too. They were very fluid, considering that they probably would have been preparing for Kevin Brown until 3 weeks ago. The kicking game maybe was lacking a bit, but they were definitely very fluid together. They weren't playing one player always first receiver. They weren't playing split halves. They were playing what was going to come. They had lots of different moves set up, different ways of putting Austin into space or Patton getting his control of the game at times.
That's impressive at this stage of the season, especially as just from a defensive point of view. It would be such harder to read.
Yeah, definitely. Highlight moments was Blake Austin's try. It was really neat play that showed they could break the line through the middle as well as what they were doing on the edges. For the Wire fans around me as well, the goal line defence seemed to highlight with Charnley's try saver with about 5 minutes to go getting as big a cheer as the try that he scored, although they weren't so happy that they couldn't keep the nil, and they blamed the referee profusely for that, despite having won the game already at that stage. But they didn't endear themselves to me terribly, the Warrington fans. Some of them were, I'm not saying they were all bad people or anything, but there's a lot of moaning considering how well their team played and what the result ended up as. But there you go.
Fair enough.
Did you, before we get the fan views, did you take anything more from this?
No, I paid absolutely no attention to this game.
Okay, fair enough then. Dr. Bob Phillips paid some attention. He said, "At least we weren't nil. # comeback stars now."
Oh, I've missed. Where am I? Yeah, POB 1976 said Warrington deserved the win. Game changed after the sin binning, and Warrington were reduced to 12 men but scored shortly after. Leeds not really at the races and had plenty of drop balls. Yeah, good luck with this one.
I'm not sure about this one. Fatboy, Wire, Cassar, Shy, and Wigan Sheet. It's our year. Dominant at the ruck. Leeds were too slow and gave too many penalties away as a consequence. The Texan capital was sublime and may just get Man of Steel. Certainly an early contender after that showing. Ratch also cementing his spot as one of the Super League's top fullbacks. Rounded performance to kick off the season. Whoever did that one, that's actually quite entertaining and spot-on review. Give your own name next time for that, I'd say. It's better than the fake name that wasn't so funny. On that one, anyway. Good review.
It was, yeah. It took me a moment on the Texan capital, but got there in the end.
Yeah.
Mitchell Dart says, Ferner out.
Mike Dodd 22 said a ticketing cock-up, but a ticketing cock-up brought on a new experience in having to stand with the Leeds fans, but in the end it didn't matter as they had very little to sing about. Goodwin and Cooper continued their form from 2018. Special mentions to the Leeds fans complaining about the stadium being too cold whilst being stood there in shorts and a t-shirt. Shorts and a t-shirt! Oh, give up.
February, but yeah.
But it was very cold.
It was...
Like, they know what the weather's been like. They drove past loads of snow on the hills to get there. Did they not think, ooh, crap? Anyway.
Clearly, I mean, there must be a discount mountain warehouse somewhere between there and the stadium, surely.
Well, there's a decathlon down the road.
Oh, there we go.
Or a Tesco over the road. They could have sorted themselves out. Amateur behaviour.
Rich Wilkinson says Leeds were second best in every department. Half-backs were non-existent. To be fair, they're behind a beaten pack. Few positives for Leeds, including the second half being a draw. At half-time, looked like it could end up being 40 easy. Leeds look like a team that hasn't played together much at all, with players coming back from injury. If Ferris gets a new deal, then I'll be writing a letter to Sir Kevin Fernsey.
John Hamilton said, annoyingly similar to 2018, got dominated at the ruck, conceded silly penalties and chose poor attacking options. Hurrell was a bright point, but Wire's defence got hold of him as the game wore on, down to his knee injury or having to do too much work. Yeah, that knee injury did slow him down a little bit, but he'd really... That's what I mean about how he'll become a fan favourite, because he was clearly a bit crocked, yet he carried on than anyone else. Yeah. However, anyone expecting anything else against the much fancied Wolves was overly optimistic. We are where Warrington were last year. With time, we'll improve and gel, but I won't be surprised if we don't win a game for a month. They're on the road for the first month of the season, aren't they? No one's really talked enough about this. I don't understand how it's such a problem that, like, Toronto want to do that, but Leeds can do it.
Well, it's because it's all a Leeds conspiracy for Leeds against Wigan. Is that the right way around the conspiracy this week? Please, let me know.
No, I think it's just, like, people get themselves in all the lather
it's
about... It's
basic mild racism, what it is.
About Toronto, yeah. Who's next?
Cutthroat Jake, yeah, it's a good question. Just if Merrin's homesick already, does that mean he's a Man of Steel form? Cutthroat Jake says, great result for Warrington. If they continue playing like that, then it may finally be their year. As for Leeds, our pack was outplayed consequently, our halves had no space. However, anyone expecting anything else against the much-fancied Wolves was overly optimistic. We are where Warrington were last year.
We've just read that one.
Have we? You said...
Did we miss...
You said Cutthroat Jake. No, because I did Rich. Then, did you miss John Hamilton?
Maybe I missed some of it.
You did. No, because we did the homesick already.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, go on.
We are where Warrington were last year. With time, we'll improve in jail, but I won't be surprised if we don't get a game from... Yeah, we did...
yeah, we did that one. What's going on?
Up
Carsten, anyway. I think
we miss John Hamilton?
I did a remix of John's and Cutthroats, yeah. Carsten said, Leeds showed a lot of consistency over the off-season. They are still shit, and there is a lot of work to be done. The Wire was very impressive, and Blake Austin looked well-connected already.
Well, it's because he's got his broadband sorted out. So soon after a move. Lee Whitnell said it was a rusty start from both teams, but Wire were able to capitalise on some defensive lapses to make the score comfortable. The Patton Austin HP partnership, that sounds like a estate agent's, doesn't it? Had some promising moments. Defensive intensity.
No, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like running mates for the American election.
Had some promising moments. Defensive intensity looked good, and the new emphasis on offloading is nice to see, as was the packed stadium. Loved the 5:15 kickoff time. A meet up with Mark and Dom capped off a good day nicely. Well, if it was an American, running mates thing, depends on which state you're in, is whether you'd be allowed to go for that pizza together. It's a niche American political reference from about 5 years ago, but there we go.
Dom did. Dom did tell the people at the Italian that it was our first day. When the guy looked very confused when he said, "Isn't there supposed to be 3 of you?" So, yeah, his dream ended quite quickly. Brendan Loftus said, Warrington, very good, and I think will get better. Lola here needs to waken up and stay out of kebab shop. Looked plenty overweight. Hurrell will now be realising that people won't believe the hype and actually will be tackling him. The pair of them showed why the Warriors were happy to let them go. I think Leeds will be fine this season, though. Yeah, Leeds have got to fix some things up, I think, and there's a couple of players who need to look at themselves in the mirror. I don't think Hurrell's one of them, but Lola here is, but they'll get better. They'll get better. There's enough talent in that team.
And if not, it'd be funny to watch.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Final game of the weekend then. Very exciting one, Tim. I'll let you round the scores, but I'll have to do the stats, I think, because they came in late.
Yes, clearly there's a problem with the broadband annealing or writing down the stats on bits of card or whatever they do. It finished London 42, Wakefield 24, having been 26-18 at half-time. A new record at Trailfinders Club, 2,149, saw Tim Grant referee this one. And what happened in...
Definitely not going to do 2 hours just to fly.
Yeah, I think this is Project 3 hours is probably more realistic.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, there were some stats, apparently.
Yeah, credit goes to London for winning this after they were beaten on many of the key stats. Wakefield had an extra break, had a big 1.5 metre per carry better average gain, as well as conceding 2 fewer penalties and having a 4.7% better team tackle success rate. Trinity did, though, make 5 more errors, and that resulted in a 7-12 error count. London made the fewest handling errors of any side in round 1, Tim. London enjoyed more ball, made a few more metres than Trin, and took their chances much better. 8 tries from only 5 breaks for the Broncos, compared to 4 tries from 6 breaks for their visitors. Individually, Eddie Batty, the sandwich eating.
Right, we've got
Eddie
to talk
Batty.
about this, but let's do the stats first.
2 tries, 8 tackles, 148 metres. You can talk about that as your highlight from the game, I suppose. Elliot Keir, 1 try, 118 metres. Alex Walker, 4 try assists from the young fullback. Jay Pitts, 5 tackles and 3 successful offloads. For Wakefield, Bill Tupou picked up where he left off, 164 metres. David Fafita bullied his way to 10 tackles and 109 metres.
He dominated. It's not a bully.
He also had a clean game.
You don't want to get banned from Actually, no, we do. Yeah, he bullied.
He had a clean game, no errors, no penalties, no missed tackles. That's impressive. James Batchel, 45 tackles. Danny Brough, 3 try assists before he got his mouth wagging. Yeah, talk to me about Eddie Batty's sandwich eating skills.
Number 1, I think it was a Waitrose sandwich. Looking at the packaging.
Ooh, hoity-toity.
It looked like it was a Waitrose fish sandwich from the colouring of the GIF. But yeah, I think as Aaron Bauer tweeted, all try scoring or goal scoring gifs now are dead. Now we've got that amazing one of Eddie Batty eating a sandwich in possibly 0.3 of a second.
They can't have imagined either that it would be coming out in week
1. Well, I don't know if you heard Danny Wall's press conference, but he said to him to get off the nudie run in week 1 is one of the biggest achievements of the day.
Yeah. I've got to say, London did a great job to turn this around, because they were, from what I've seen of their tries they conceded, it was a bit of a horror show early doors. The gaps that Wakefield were going through were massive.
Yeah, I mean,
but they turned it around.
Yeah, and
that they did.
And it's sort of coming sort of it was a good half an hour in before they really started to click on a motor, and then back they came, and in the second half. And of course, the Brough descent right at the end didn't help anything, and that did lead to that extra Keir try coming off the back, which did put the